A couple days ago, on April 10th, 2017, Hideo Kojima tweeted the following image. At a glance, it looks like Kojima's just showcasing his collection of Lego figurines, but those who've been keeping up with Kojima's tweets will know that there's more to it than that. That's because exactly a month before, on March 10th, 2017, Hideo Kojima tweeted the following images with the message, "I'm not playing around. Part of my job." The images in question showcase a diorama of sorts featuring the same yellow submarine seen in the latest image alongside figurines of Hannibal characters such as Hannibal Lecter, portrayed by Mads Mikkelsen, Will Graham, portrayed by Hugh Dancy, and Jack Crawford, portrayed by Lawrence Fishburne. I explained the implications of this diorama in a previous video, but for those who didn't watch that, basically, it is my belief that Hannibal Lecter represents Mads Mikkelsen, that's an obvious one, Will Graham represents Norman Reedus, and Jack Crawford represents Guillermo del Toro. These deductions came from analyzing the relationship between Hannibal's trio of characters and then cross-referencing that with what we know about Death Stranding's characters. If you've watched Hannibal, then you'll know that Will Graham, the protagonist, has a rivalry going on with Hannibal Lecter, the antagonist. And this is a relationship that's not too dissimilar from the one Kojima described between Norman Reedus' character and Mads Mikkelsen's character. As for Jack Crawford, similar to Guillermo's character, he's a middle-aged man who has a significant position within a government agency. For Jack Crawford, it's the head of the behavioral science unit at the FBI in the United States of America. For Guillermo's character, he holds a position in the mysterious Bridges organization in the United Cities of America. With that in mind, what we're looking at here is a diorama of a Death Stranding scene in which Mads has taken someone's baby, likely Norman's. Guillermo confronts Mads about it, and Norman has crash-landed and perished somehow. Very vague, I know, but with what little we know about Death Stranding, only vague assumptions can be made at this point in time. But for the purposes of this video, all you need to take away from this diorama from March 10th, 2017 is that when Kojima shows stuff like this, it's not just him fucking around. It's him actually doing some pre-production and conceptualizing scenes for his new game. So you can bet your ass that Kojima's latest image featuring the same Hannibal Lecter figurine and the same Beatles Yellow Submarine figurine does offer some kind of clue. In the back here, we see a TIE fighter from Star Wars, possibly further reaffirming that Death Stranding will feature interstellar travel as part of its narrative and its gameplay. In the foreground, we have a female figurine standing next to Mads' character, likely a representation of Death Stranding's female lead character, whose identity still remains a mystery. Now, for many of you, the immediate knee-jerk reaction based on the latest rumors will be that this figurine represents none other than Emma Stone. While that's still a possibility, before you make that assumption, it is important to identify exactly what Lego figurine this is. Funny thing is, I actually stumbled upon this figurine by chance when I visited New York City yesterday. While I was there, one of the places that I visited was the Lego World Store near the Rockefeller Plaza, and as I walked around, I immediately recognized it and took a picture of it for your viewing pleasure, so take a look. Not many people have talked about the true identity of this Lego figurine, so ladies and gentlemen, here it is. This is none other than the Black Widow from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, played by Scarlett Johansson. So you've got to wonder, do you think that one of the actresses that Kojima's considering for the lead female character is none other than Scarlett Johansson? Now, before you rule out this possibility, there are a few things worth considering. Let's begin with how lately Kojima has been fixated on the new Ghost in the Shell movie starring Scarlett Johansson. Kojima even wrote an entire essay on Ghost in the Shell for website Glixel, sharing his thoughts on the philosophies of the original anime and how the latest movie fares in comparison. But even beyond Kojima's recent fixation on Ghost in the Shell, interesting to note is that one of the producers of the new Ghost in the Shell movie is none other than Avi Arad. If that name sounds familiar to you, that's because Avi Arad is not only a well-known Hollywood producer, having worked on movies like X-Men and Spider-Man. Avi Arad is also a friend of Kojima's who put him in contact with Kiefer Sutherland for the role of Metal Gear Solid 5's Venom Snake and Big Boss. So who's to say that Avi Arad, one of the producers of the Ghost in the Shell movie starring Scarlett Johansson, didn't help Kojima get in contact with this actress, just like he helped him with getting in contact with Kiefer Sutherland for Metal Gear Solid 5. And hell, even if it wasn't Avi Arad, by now Kojima has enough contacts within Hollywood to be able to contact anyone he wants if he really tries. Here's something else worth considering. You may recall that a couple of months ago, in late 2016, Kojima tweeted that he had finally met an actress who he's been in love with for over 10 years. The leading assumption is that Kojima met this actress to pitch her a lead role in Death Stranding. Now, considering Kojima tweeted this on December of 2016, this means that the actress in question, whoever it is that he met, must be someone who garnered critical acclaim before December of 2006, over 10 years ago. With that in mind, the more I think about it, the more I realize that Emma Stone doesn't actually fit the bill. Emma's first major feature film was Superbad, and that came out on August 2007. That's only around 9.5 years before Kojima tweeted having met an actress he's been in love with for over 10 years. I might add that Emma Stone's role in Superbad isn't even a big one, nothing that would make Kojima fall in love with her, at least. And prior to Superbad, Emma Stone only played minor roles for television shows like Malcolm in the Middle back in 2005, but not much else beyond that. Long story short, the actress that Kojima met on December of 2016, this someone who he's been infatuated with for over 10 years, can't be Emma Stone if you think about it. Now, let's shift focus to Scarlett Johansson's filmography. Scarlett made her feature film debut as far back as 1994 in the movie North. From there, she moved on to star in the movie Manny and Lo in 1996, and then garnered further acclaim with roles in The Horse Whisperer in 1998 and Ghost World in 2001. By 2003, she had already won a BAFTA award for Best Actress in a Leading Role from her work in the movie Lost in Translation, and her career only moved up from there. Case in point, Scarlett Johansson far better fits the bill of an actress that Kojima has been in love with for over 10 years as of December 2016. I feel like whereas Emma Stone came into Kojima's radar more recently, especially after her performance in La La Land, Scarlett Johansson, with her more extensive filmography, could have been in Kojima's radar for over a decade. Now, to play devil's advocate, there are two factors holding back the theory that Scarlett Johansson might play the lead female character in Death Stranding. Factor number one, remember that photo Kojima tweeted of a female actress being 3D scanned into the game? Yeah, she looks absolutely nothing like 2017 Scarlett Johansson. Now, my personal counter-argument to this discrepancy is that Kojima might be casting more than one female role. Maybe whoever this actress is in this blurry image isn't the lead actress. Perhaps Kojima isn't ready to show a blurry real-life image of Scarlett Johansson because her flamboyant haircut would be very easily recognizable. Perhaps he figured that featuring an obscure Lego figurine of Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow would be the next best thing. Now, if I had to guess who the actress in the blurry image is, I would say that's none other than Stephanie Houston. After all, this image was released only 2 weeks after Kojima put on that Stephanie Houston cap during the latest episode of HideoTube, guest starring Mads Mikkelsen. Not to mention that recently, when Stephanie Houston was asked about rumors of her possible involvement, she basically said, "No comment." Which is usually an answer for yes, but I can't say because I'm under NDA. So I'm thinking that Stephanie Houston will play a supporting female character while a veteran Hollywood actress like Scarlett Johansson will play the lead female character. Moving on, factor number two. It is worth noting that in Kojima's previous diorama, Only Mads Mikkelsen was represented with a figurine of his likeness. Norman and Guillermo, on the other hand, were represented by figurines of other characters and actors. So in the same manner that the figurines of Hugh Dancy and Lawrence Fishburne don't literally represent these actors, a figurine of Scarlett Johansson may not literally represent her either. It is possible that the Black Widow figurine represents someone else entirely. These two factors aside, with all said and done, I would say that there's a pretty strong case for the theory that Scarlett Johansson might play the female lead role in Death Stranding. The use of Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow Lego figurine for his latest diorama, Kojima's recent fixation on the Ghost in the Shell movie starring Scarlett Johansson, the fact that Kojima has Hollywood acquaintances like Avi Arad, who is one of the producers of the Ghost in the Shell movie, meaning that he could have put Kojima in contact with Scarlett. The fact that Kojima recently cited having met an actress he's been in love with for over 10 years, which lines up with Scarlett Johansson's extensive filmography, and more. These things don't mean much individually, but together, I would say that they make for some pretty compelling evidence. Even so, take all of this with a grain of salt. The evidence is circumstantial at best. As it stands, 3 possible actresses that Kojima's considering for Death Stranding include Stephanie Houston, Emma Stone, and Scarlett Johansson. I do think we're absolutely gonna see Stephanie Houston in Death Stranding. Kojima's teases and Stephanie's inability to comment on the matter paint a pretty clear picture in my opinion. But whether Kojima will cast the likes of Scarlett Johansson or Emma Stone, that remains to be seen. I'm sure we'll find out more about Death Stranding's actresses in E3 2017. But until then, what are your thoughts on the matter? Do you think the evidence that I've presented is compelling enough to make a case for Scarlett Johansson's involvement? Do you think there's meaning behind the fact that Kojima featured a Lego figurine of Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow in his latest diorama? Or am I looking too much into things? Let us know in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things Death Stranding, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!